I mean,
I feel, you know, the one thing in this, I do feel bad for Aaron a little bit. I think he'll do a fine job, to be totally honest with you. I do. He has been injured. I mean, the 2 injuries are not his fault. Couldn't control. I know this has been tough on him. I think he'll do a fine job. And this has nothing to do with him, this whole deal. And if they wanted to make me a backup, the thing is, they've been preaching about, we want to protect Brett's legacy, and we think he should, you know, and we both know how, you know, what that's about. How does that protect my legacy if I'm a backup? If I'm, you know, Brett, we'll welcome you back. We'll pay you $12 million, but you got to hold the clipboard and ball cap. That's probably better for them as opposed to letting me go somewhere and me coming back. Then their legacy, the management, would could be in jeopardy. Let me worry about that. You know, you don't worry about my legacy. And you know, I mean, it's a bunch of bull. So it's all it is.
You know, I sort of think ahead, and in the event that you were released, if the Packers do release you, and let's say that a team picked you up that really needs a quarterback, Chicago, Baltimore, or even Minneapolis, and the thought of that first Monday night game, I think the Packers play Minneapolis, don't they play the Vikings?
Yeah, yes.
And
right.
To have you, that's also the day they're supposed to retire the Green Bay Four, to have you run out in a purple uniform will make the fans crazy. To pick up.
I never envisioned that. I mean, I've heard all the talk like everyone else. Yeah, it's hard not to, but you know, I mean, that's always been our biggest rival, obviously, with the Bears. And did I ever think of that? No. Did I ever think it would happen? Absolutely not. And by getting a release, obviously, it gives you an option to. I don't know if other teams would make a play for me. You know. Most people say, you know, this team needs that, whatever, but it may not work out. But we won't know unless we're released. And how am I supposed to trust that they're working on a trade after, you know, the things that have been told to me in the past? Teams may have called and said, hey, you know, we're interested. Well, you know, I mean, they may never tell us. And the longer this goes on, the less likely I am to play with someone because of the time factor. So,
training camp starting, or the
right around the corner.
Right around the corner. 27th of July?
Right. For Green Bay. Other teams are probably reporting earlier.
Let me see if I get this straight. You're now 100% certain you want to play football.
Where is a different story, yes.
But you want to play?
Yeah, right.
100%.
Right.
Green.
And I very well may not play, Greta.
But that's your desire. That's your desire.
Or the circumstances.
Right. And you're physically ready to do this?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think I'm ready.
And Deanna's on board, your wife?
Yeah.
The Packers, have they told you that you can come back and, not that you want to, but sit on the bench?
That's what I'm hearing, yes. Yes.
Is that unacceptable to you?
I think so. I've had a lot of people, and you mentioned that. Well, go back and hold them to it. I don't see it that way. It's tempting just to, because everyone's saying, you know, call their bluff or whatever. I think it's going to be a circus in itself already, whether I go there, whatever. And I like my teammates. I had a lot of fun with them. I have talked to numerous guys throughout this whole ordeal. I wish them the best. I really do. I hold nothing against those guys. We had a lot of fun together. We had, you know, it was an amazing year last year. I don't want to make it any worse than it is. I mean, I've always been a Packer, always will be a Packer. Do I play somewhere else? Remains to be seen. But I don't want to go back there just to stick it to them.
When you had that announcement in March, you got very emotional. Mm-hmm. Is this emotional for you?
Very emotional. The way I played the game, the way I live my life is very emotional. And I'm sorry. I got friends that pick on me all the time about crying, not only during the press conference, but last year after the Chicago Bears game. You know, hey, Favre's crying again. And it is a little bit embarrassing to me at times, but that's the only way I know to be. It's real, it's genuine. Every game I've ever played, regardless if it was preseason or Super Bowl, meant the same to me. And I laid it all on the line. And I hope people can appreciate it, because I do. And if I don't play again, it's not the end of the world, because I look back and I hold no regrets. There's some games I wish I would have won, but I played every game the same way. And so what you see is what you get. I don't know what else to tell you. And yeah, I was emotional. He was believable. I've heard that. You know, Favre was believable. Well, it was real. I didn't think I'd play again, and still may not. I was given an honest answer at that time after what, they didn't make me give that answer. They asked if they could have that answer before free agency or the draft, and I did.
Have you spoken to Aaron Rodgers at all?
No.
Were you ever friendly? I mean, I don't know the relationship between.
Fine. I mean, you know, he's 14 years younger than me. I know we made some comments here lately, but you know, when I was his age, I made some crazy comments too. So I can't hold that against him. I know one of the comments. It seems to me that some things were released, I think the same day the Sports Illustrated article was coming out. And they're going to probably say they didn't release any of this info or get the pot stirring, but if they did, it was pretty smart, because it deflected a lot of the comments that he supposedly made. About the fans having to basically get over you? Yeah, and you know, I'm sure he's tired of answering questions about Brett Favre, but... must be hard on him. It's got to be hard on him. And my only advice to him, I never gave him advice really, would be that the only way you shut that up, we all know, is to go out and play well. And that's not to say that they would forget what I've done, but, you know, go out and prove it on the field. That's all I would say. I'm not sitting here bashing Aaron Rodgers. I think he'll do a fine job, and I think his comments are not a surprise, not only from him, but I may have said the same thing. I know you haven't made any decisions, but is going back to Green Bay an option and being the backup quarterback at this point? Going back and being a backup quarterback? No. What about competing for starting quarterback? Why? I'm just asking. I'm just asking that... That's what I would ask them. Why? Well, Brett, you retired, you know what I mean? Okay. Allowing them to trade you so they get something in return. It's hard to imagine, but what if I'm going to play? I mean, obviously, I would have to agree to whoever it is, and I'm sure, you know, they're not going to do it with a big rival or competitor or whatever. But that may be our only option. I don't know what else to do. If they released you, which is now your first choice, if you can't be the starting quarterback, if they release you, that at least enables you to make your own decisions. Well, why not ask for it? That's what Bus and we talked about. I said, you know, why not ask for it? You know, do we think we'll get it? But yeah, that gives you, you know, freedom to sign with anyone. But I'm still under contract, and as far as I know, you can't talk to anyone, or they can't talk to you. So they have to go through the Packers via the trade scenario. Hey, you know, okay, we understand that Brett possibly could be traded. How do we know he hasn't talked to someone? I guess he yesterday said that no one's inquired. That very well may be true, but then again, how do we know it's not? Sense. And well, that's kind of what we thought, or whatever. You know, I'm not here to convince people. I'm here to tell the truth, and I hope the fans know it's not about them. Obviously, it's not, because I can't go nowhere else and get what I got in Green Bay. And never will. No one can. And I was fortunate enough for those years to appreciate it, witness it, feel it. And I mean, there's nothing like it. You've seen